Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders, a great millstone who teach and rule well. And peace, love, and salutations to the Akim that's out there laboring, that's up the hopeful elect, that's doing this work in truth and sincerity. And pretty much I want to do an edifying lesson, Lord willing, on this video that Arrows of Indignation. Brother always, pretty much puts up throws up an alley-oop, and gives pretty much inspiration to pretty much do a video on the particular topic that he posts. And this one is another one here where you're seeing here in Babylon where Esau Edom, they pretty much are up in arms now because of their so-called privilege is running dry. The days of mediocrity are over for them. When I say that, it's because years ago, a household would pretty much be able to survive with 3 to 4 children in the household, with the man being the only one having to work, and the woman would pretty much stay at home. Pretty much, this was the sentiment, back in the 30s and 40s and even the 50s, the heyday of Babylon. The man would pretty much, quote unquote, the saying, bring home the bacon, so to speak, and the woman would pretty much guide the house and be the housewife. And the man would come home and, with his briefcase and pretty much she'll have his, newspaper and slippers ready for him. Dinner's just about ready. Fast forward now to this time now in this day and age, through the tribal wars going on between Edom. Okay, you have a certain people now above another certain people that's of the same tribe, so to speak. And pretty much, the top tribe of their people are pretty much getting the big piece of the pie. They're the ones that are pretty much laying down the law, setting the rules, pretty much controlling the financial markets. And you have the mediocre Joe Blow six-packs that are not getting their fair share of the pie, so to speak. They're pretty much stuck in mediocrity. They pretty much are living beyond their means. They pretty much, struggling to keep their head above water. Ever since, the whole demic that happened, going on pretty much 5 years ago, they've ran through their resources or pretty much are exhausting their resources, living off credit cards and then they're complaining about it, and this is something that I always thought about too, is how these people always have voted against their own best interests politically, and this video right here pretty much she hits the nail on the head with a lot of the points that she makes. And I pretty much want to give what I'm speaking about a little bit more context. So without any further ado, I'm going to play this clip that the brother had put up. And we're going to get some precepts to pretty much tie it in. And Lord willing, it's edifying. So without any further ado.
About race. Y'all made it about race when you created systematic fucking oppression. You made everything about race. Everything in this country is about race. Every fucking thing. And if you say it ain't about race, fuck you. Don't come in here talking about everything is not about race. Everything is about race. Every fucking thing in this country, everything in this fucking world, but definitely in this country, is about race. Yeah. Employment is about race. Credit is about race. Yeah. Racism has always been expensive. The only difference is you white motherfuckers can't afford the price tag no more. That's what the problem is. Y'all can't afford the shit. Back in the day, you could afford racism, but that price tag is too fucking high. The price tag on racism has went up. Your salaries ain't fucking changed. When we didn't have fucking credit scores. But when black and brown people started being able to afford the same shit as white people, y'all had to throw that shit in there to keep us from doing it. School was free. And so niggas and Latinos wanted to start going to fucking community college. Then all of a sudden, now you got tuition. Now you got to take out loans. Now you motherfuckers is doctors and lawyers and got to pay out your ass to pay a loan back because white people didn't want black people to become lawyers and doctors. So now we all fucking suffering. Because you didn't want niggas to get shit. We could have universal health care right now, but you don't want niggas to be able to go to the goddamn doctor. So now you can't go to the motherfucking doctor. Mm-hmm. Now you out here fucked up. Now your motherfucking child is fucked up because you don't want niggas to have shit. The education system is fucked up because you don't want niggas to read. Well, your fucking kid, Billy Joe goddamn Bob and them, is reading at a goddamn second grade level because you didn't want niggas to read. I'm convinced crackers started reading when niggas started learning how to do it. Y'all niggas stopped reading books the minute we learned how to. Y'all said, oh, the niggas can read? Fuck education.
Oh, that's exactly what's happening.
That's what's happening. The minute black people, when we could afford housing, y'all started that redlining shit. Everything that y'all have lost so much, we could be so much of a great country, but y'all don't want niggas to have shit. Being racist in America costs all of us. It's very well understood now that no one can afford college because of Ronald Reagan. College in the United States used to be affordable, if not free, until the 1980s and Ronald Reagan. And they realized that a ton of black Americans were starting to go to secondary universities. So they made the cost of going to college astronomical, unaffordable, unapproachable to try to whitewash attendance. Unfortunately, for a lot of lower and middle income white people, that also meant you get caught up in the net. Now no one can afford fucking college because they tried to keep black and brown people out. And it's happening again in 2025. And the big fucking stupid budget bill that they've come up with, they're cutting Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP benefits, and FEMA. Why? Why are they cutting all of these programs? So that they can build detention centers for ICE. So because you're racist against brown people and you don't want brown people in this country, they're going to spend billions of dollars on building detention centers, camps, prisons. They're going to use your tax money to pay to fly them out of the country, to pay customs and border agents to round them up. That shit doesn't happen for free. So they're going to cut FEMA. So the next time you see a hurricane, a tornado, a fire swoop through your town or your neighborhood and destroy everything, and you wonder where FEMA is, it's in jail. Instead of saving each other and your neighbors, you are now paying to incarcerate brown people. They're using our money for hate instead of help. And you're good with this?
And that's the point of the video, you know. And
we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like.
The people always want to vote against their best interest, man. You know, it's because the reason is because, just like he said, you didn't want Israelites, you know, Negro, Latino, Native Americans to have anything, you know. And pretty much the lies are pretty much coming to its surface, man. The lies that they have been taught since being a little child, man. You know, or what they was taught in their household, man. You know, speaking about how we ain't shit. You know, all right. Speaking about you brown people, that you ain't about nothing. That pretty much you have done nothing. You have accomplished nothing. You know, when it's basically far from the truth. You know, and they love to put brown people in a box. You know, especially you Judites, you Negroes, like to put you in a box, like and characterize all of you as the same. But when you have people here in Babylon that have strived to achieve comfortability in this place, you know, you have a lot of Jakes out there that are pretty much doing very well for themselves in this place, man. You know, despite, you know, the systematic you know, racism that has been set in place to pretty much keep them from, you know, breaking through that so-called glass ceiling, you know, okay? And pretty much, you know, and that's going to be, you know, a lot of Jakes out there, their pride has taken over in that sense too, because you have it to where, you know, they don't want to see this place fall, You know, okay. This man is pretty much self-destructing this place on his own, so to speak. All right, through his policies. But somehow, some way, he's blaming you Negro Latinos and Native Americans for everything wrong in this place, man. When this man has done nothing but vote against his own best interests, man. You see, just because he didn't want to see you people get ahead. You see, okay. So the hypocrisy is alive and real, man. Okay. And now, you know, we refer to them as pretty much two-time losers, so to speak, man. You know? But real quick, let me get a scripture real quick. I don't want to keep babbling, but I want to pretty much hit on what I found on the GPT chat, you know? But let's go to the beginning, man. Let's go to Exodus, man. Exodus, first chapter. I'm gonna start at 7. This is pretty much when we was in captivity under Pharaoh, you know, and pretty much, you know, even with that, you know, the Lord had raised up Joseph pretty much to be, you know, reverenced very well in the eyes of the Pharaoh, you know, and we were shown some type of favor, okay, but things changed when Joseph pretty much passed, and you know the new Pharaoh came in. Okay, so we're gonna pick it up here in the 7th verse, right? And this is Exodus chapter 1 verse 7. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. Okay, and pretty much, you know, this is speaking about us being in captivity, okay, and us being fruitful and multiplying and increasing and waxing mightily strong, okay, all right, in the land of our captivity, okay. And it says, and now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel were more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so we get them up out of the land. Okay, so that's just pretty much kind of parallel to what is going on here in Babylon, man. Okay, all right, for us to keep us in from striving in this place, man. There was always you know, stumbling blocks set up, pitfalls set up, okay, traps, okay, to pretty much keep Jake in that sinful manner, for one, okay. And another thing is to pretty much keep them from achieving financial freedom, so to speak, in this place. You see? And we can go on, and she touched on a few things as far as the redlining and pretty much, you know, us not getting a fair shake of the GI Bill, and pretty much, you know, the whole welfare system set up was not even made for you Negroes, man. Okay, but they'd like to make you the face of it. You see? Okay, but these things were set in place, man, to pretty much keep Jake, you know, from achieving certain type of status in this place here, man. Okay. And this is the same thing that how we're being dealt with wisely, how we was back in Egypt, man. Okay, you see, and it says, verse 11. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them, and with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Panthon and Ramesses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with vigor. You know, and this is here now where, you know, Jacob's always being oppressed even on the job, man. Okay? You know, there's always some type of good old boy system that's set up in a lot of these job sites, man. You know, where, you know, the good old boys are at the top, Jake is on the bottom, and they oppress Jake at these particular job sites, man. You know, and what they try to do is they try to push Jake's button, and if Jake doesn't have pretty much the integrity or the patience to kind of deal wisely with these people, okay, Jake pretty much will, you know, get out of pocket, so to speak. And that's basically what they want. They want Jake to be carnal, man, so they can pretty much throw you out on your ear, so to speak, and fire you. You see? Okay? They always try to get Jake to come up out of that character after the being oppressed and marginalized. You see? Okay, so there's a lot of parallels that go on between here in Babylon and what happened in Egypt concerning the children of Israel. Okay, you see? All right, and these people, and it's race always matters, man. Okay, this is why we're fighting tooth and nail with this truth, man. And people are so blinded by it because we understand that image is everything, and the image that's been erected up, who people ignorantly call JC, that is embedded in the people's heads. And when we make a point of pointing that out, that that image is not biblical, this is when they say that color doesn't matter. You see? And we always tell them, well, listen, if the color didn't matter, why would you have this image up in the first place? You would just leave it as it is written, And even when you show people in the scriptures, okay, all right, that the people in the scriptures were people of color, they still have a problem with it, okay, because it's not coming from a source of where they have been lied to all their life, okay. And that source that they always been, listening to, or attentive to, pretty much has always kept them in a dumbfounded state, man. Okay, and there's nothing. It's gonna lead them to destruction at the end of the day, man. Okay, but real quick, let me get the chat, and I want to speak about here. I asked the question, right, concerning. What is a mediocre lifestyle in America, right? A mediocre lifestyle in America generally means living at an inadequate but unexceptional level, okay? Needs are met, but there's little financial freedom, comfort, or upward momentum. It's not poverty, but it's also far from prosperity, okay? And that's what you want to pretty much call most of America right now. Okay, all right, and Jake is pretty much in the same boat with these Edomites at the end of the day, man. But the Edomites now, they can't get away with the mediocrity lifestyle anymore, man. Okay, you see, and this is why they say that racism is expensive. Okay, this is why people make that issue of pointing that out. Okay, it's because you're so hell bent on keeping Jake down and pushing policies to keep them down, that it also affects you in the long run, okay? Because now, why? It's because the resources that you pretty much had is running low. You don't have these things that you can go into. You can't go into the equity of your home anymore. You went to the well too many times, okay? You're in debt now. You're taking out loans. But let's read here because it's going to get into it, okay? It says. Here's what here's what that typically looks like in practical terms. Okay, all right, concerning work and income, full-time job, often hourly, or lower middle salary. Roughly between $35,000 and $55,000 per year, varies by region. Little job satisfaction or advancement. Living paycheck to paycheck or close to it, okay, and a lot of people are in that situation, okay, including E, okay. E is pretty much in this situation right here, right as we speak, and this is not just speaking about it because they pretty much are having their own tongue to fall upon themselves. Because why? It's because they're turning, every time you turn around, they're turning on the camera and speaking about their plight that they are facing here in Babylon, man. Okay, they knowing that they're pretty much the thrill is gone, so to speak. Okay, the good old times are gone. The great 80s. And even when you're going to go back to the heyday in the 50s. Okay, you see, all right. The time of innocence, so to speak. Okay, when the 60s started rolling around, that was pretty much the end of innocence, man. Okay, and this is when the powers that be started to set their plan in motion, which was already in motion, but way before that. When you want to go back to 1913, with that meeting on Jekyll Island, okay, with the Federal Reserve, okay, that's for another topic. but to pretty much wage war on the people. Okay, all right. When it happened in real time, through the eyes of the public, would be the 60s. Okay, all right. So now, don't mean to go off topic, but you want to talk about people living paycheck to paycheck or close to it. Housing, renting in an apartment or a small home. Housing costs take up 30 to 40% of the income, right? Few upgrades, maintenance deferred, little to no equity being built. Okay, and a lot of people might be in this situation right here, including E's in a situation like this. Okay, because here it is now. You have these houses that are in certain areas that are going for pretty much $500,000 or even more, but the house pretty much needs upgrades at the end of the day. Okay, the last time the kitchen might have been renovated might have been the 80s, so to speak. So the kitchen would be outdated. So even if you were to buy a home like that, you would have to invest even more money into it to be able to modernize it. You see what I'm saying? Okay, transportation, older used vehicle, possibly with ongoing repairs, monthly car payment or unreliable transportation, limited ability to replace the car without debt. Okay, and this is a situation where you find middle of America in this situation, man. And some people can't even speak about having even a vehicle, man. Okay, you see, and this always struck a thought in my mind years and years ago, when you want to think about the political system and when they had the pretty much when you voted for the president, and you have the big map that they show on the board. And you always have places like Arkansas and West Virginia and Mississippi. Okay, there was easily to call those states early, and they always voted Republican, so to speak. Okay, and it was always against their interests. Okay, but it was no shadow of a doubt that a lot of those places. Okay, these are poor states in the union, and it was always voted by a landslide. Okay, unequivocally red, so to speak. Okay, you see, which ultimately against their own interests. You see, so they have always done that, and this was pretty much the blueprint that Lyndon Baines Johnson, off of Lyndon Baines Johnson's comment. You see, he said if you can convince the poorest white man that he is better than the richest black man, you're able to pretty much pick his pockets. And he said that hell, he'll even just hand the money over to you, so to speak. Okay, so pretty much that was a play on that speech, was basically how they play politics with the so-called Joe Sixpack. Okay, we're gonna refer to him as Joe Blow Sixpack. Okay, that's your typical Edomite. Okay, that's pretty much working, in these mediocre jobs, man. Mediocrity is not doing it anymore for them. Okay, now they need two incomes. Okay, and if they're extremely struggling, if it's only one income and they need maybe a supplemental income. Okay, like a SNAP benefit. Okay, all right. Men that are working on these plants, been there, and a lot of these jobs, they have been grandfathered in. Okay, you see, through the generations. You see, okay, a lot of these jobs have been gate kept by their own people, man. Okay, all right, and we have to, they would go down through the line of the family, man. You see, okay, all right. So it says now finances, minimal savings, often under $5,000. Reliance on credit cards for emergencies. No meaningful investments. Retirement savings inconsistent or absent. Okay. Lifestyle and spending. Budget conscious grocery shopping. Okay. And this is now, we're going back into the time now. People are pretty much clipping coupons, man. Okay. It's always been a thing here now, but you're seeing it more prevalent now. Okay. Okay. Eating out occasionally, not freely. rare vacations, road trips, or short getaways. And you're seeing a lot of road trips. Okay, a lot of people in road trips now. Okay, because why? That's the cheaper way to travel, so to speak. Okay, you know, entertainment mostly low cost or free. Um, I wanted to just skim through this, but I wanted to get in short. All right, so it says, mediocre lifestyle is survival with modest comfort, not abundance. Life works, but barely. And one unexpected event, a car repair, illness, or job loss, can cause real hardship. This is where most of people in Babylon are right now in this point in time, man. Okay? Now, I want to ask the question, how people get stuck in mediocrity, okay? Because that's what's happening right now. People usually don't choose mediocrity. They drift into it through habits, beliefs, and systems that quietly cap their growth. And this is what I'm speaking about right here. How they vote against their best interests. Case in point, the farmers. How the farmers voted Republican, okay? Voted against their best interests. Now you're having it to where the people are not getting what they would need to get to survive with these farms, and they're losing their farms right now. You see, okay? And the one main reason is through immigration. Okay, a lot of these farmers were using immigrants to work their farms. Now that the immigrants now are pretty much getting deported, or even scared to come to work, they didn't think that far down the road to know that it would affect them. Okay, and they want to be able to get rid of the brown people, but they're so ignorant that they don't even realize that the brown people are working for them on these particular jobs, these farms, these construction sites. You see, okay. So in turn, affects the economy, man. You see, okay. So it says, that people, right, through their habits, beliefs, and this place is a glutton in place, man. Okay, and credit was given out freely, and just because credit's given out freely, you don't jump on it, and that's what people have done. People have jumped on it. Anything given out free, they take it. Okay, increase in credit limit. Okay, they go and suck up all of it. Okay, and that's what people have done here in Babylon, man. Okay, and so again, it says people usually don't choose mediocrity. They drift into it through habits, beliefs, and systems that quietly cap their growth. Here are some most common ways people get stuck and why it's hard to get out. Okay, and that's pretty much what I want to hit on. Okay, but let's get a scripture real quick. All right, this is let's go to Isaiah real quick. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 10. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Thou art become like unto us? And pretty much, man, the world sees Babylon for what it is right now in this point in time, man. Okay? People, the other nations are making mockery of this place, man. Okay? Because why? It's because the uncovering, the unraveling of this place, and people crashing out, and people just having a hard time coping with life is being spewed out on the internet, man. And the world sees it. The world sees how weak this place has become, man. Okay, people see this place as not being a place of prosperity anymore, man. Okay, everybody's catching it, everybody's feeling it. Okay, you see, all right. They figured that mediocrity, okay, lifestyle would carry them through, man. Okay, but now it's affecting them. Okay, and you understand now how many people now are pretty much in the same boat as Jake, But like I said again, Jake is doing a lot. Jake, you got a lot of Jakes out there that are doing very well for themselves in this place right now, man. Okay, you see, all right, through getting high-paying jobs, and then also with these other jobs, these other jobs that Joe Blow Six Pack was getting through grandfathered in, even when he got high-paying jobs. But the whole thing now is that you can't get by with just that anymore now. You got to actually have the skill. And who's coming over with the skill? The so-called immigrants. Okay, you got the Chinese, you got the Africans. Okay, you got the Indians now that are into the tech industry, that are scientists. Okay, these high-paying jobs here, man, that are pretty much they're the ones that's taking over, man. Okay, when you want to look into the medical field, man. Okay, you see, you got a lot of Chinese, you got a lot of Indian, you got a lot of Africans, man. Okay, that are in the medical field, man. Okay, you see, so they're pretty much now being marginalized in a lot of these high-paying jobs, man. Because why? It's because the skill set for them is not there. Okay, you know, there was even some talk years ago about how celebrities were paying under the table to get their kids to go into certain schools and to graduate. You know, paying for their basically their diplomas, man. Okay, just to have that thing under their belt, man. And who knows how many times that this has happened, man. Okay, you see, all right. It says, "Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, in the noise of thy vows. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms have covered thee." You know, and this place is decaying from inside out, man. Okay, all right. It's systematically decaying, man. Okay, you see, all right. And all the people got to do is everybody got to do is just sit on their hands and just watch. Okay, you know, this man is quick to try to point out a boogeyman, but yet and still, man, he himself is destroying himself. You know, he's single-handedly doing it himself, man. Okay, he's single-handedly destroying this place himself, man. Okay, doesn't need any assistance, doesn't need any help. All right, all the world is doing is just watching, man. Okay, they're watching how the standard of living has declined in this place, man. Okay, you see, it says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations," man. You know, the light bearer, man. People look at this place, man. This man was a light bearer, man. Okay, you see, he weakened the nations, man. But he's brought down from his perch. You see, and the whole world sees it. Okay, it says, "For thou hast said in thy heart, okay, in thy mind, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation of the sides of the north, and I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, and I will be like the Most High." You see? All right, and this man has done that through his technology, and pretty much, man, you know, he can't go no more than he can't go past the Van Allen belt, and people don't really know about that. Okay, you know, so this man, as far as this man can go, is maybe 1,000 miles up into the atmosphere, and then that's about it. Okay, you know, where you got the International Space Station, man, and all he can do is pretty much window shop out there. Okay, these planets he can't touch them. Okay, and for the pride, that pomp, to really think that there's a flag sitting on the moon as we speak, flapping in space, you know, is laughable, man. Okay, you see, who really thinks about that, man? Okay, when you really think about it, okay, yeah, you know, it had some it had some legs to it, you know, back in the 60s and 70s, and but now when you start really knowing things and starting to know of how things are physically impossible to even do, okay, in these bodies, okay, these terrestrial bodies, okay, we understand that it is impossible, man. Okay, you see, right? It says, "I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High, yet thou be brought down to the hell and to the sides of the pit. And they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms?" Okay, we know that pretty much the powers that be are the ones that's in control. Okay, but we're also seeing now the people that were benefiting through privilege, okay, which is merely just crumbs off the master's table at the end of the day. Okay, now the crumbs are becoming scarce, And actually, they're being shut off. They're being cut off, man. Okay? They're being cut off. You know? Okay? They told you how they cutting Medicare and health care and SNAP benefits, and he has been benefiting from this, and that's been the best kept secret, man. Okay? There's a lot of best kept secrets, man, that are actually being revealed, man. You see? Concerning how they have gotten to the position that they're in. You see? But the gravy train is pretty much over for them, man. Okay? You see? So now, pretty much what's left is now resentment and ultimately the sword. Okay? You see? All right? All right, from there, all right, last precept. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 47. Okay, I want to read a few verses from that. Okay. And this is a sentiment of Babylon, even to this day right now, man. People are feeling them, but you still have that sense of pride, man. Okay? Because this place has not been touched. Okay? So this is the reason why that pride is still there. And they always say that, their sentiment is, we've been in recessions before. We always got out of it. We just gotta, hold on and ride the wave, so to speak. But this is gonna be real. That's coming, man. This crash is gonna be epic, man. Okay, and all the analysts and talking heads are pretty much have been speaking about this, man. Okay, they know that this place cannot pretty much continue on in this state without something drastic happening financially. Okay, you see, but it says, and thou sayest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to heart, neither did thou remember the latter end of it. Okay, and it's pretty much, man, how, I always think about Lady Liberty, so to speak. They stand by that. Okay, all right. That tender, delicate woman, okay, is what America is referred to, man. Untouched. Haven't seen no real war on its shores since it's been totally established. Okay, and I mean totally established, meaning after we want to call the Revolutionary Wars and the different wars that they have had to pretty much establish this place. Okay, including the Civil War. Okay, has nothing been touched here. You see? Okay, it says, therefore now hear this, thou which art given to pleasures, that thou dwellest carelessly, right? And sayest in thine heart, I am and none else beside me. And that's what this place has, that sentiment, man. Okay? All right? This is the place that's given to pleasures, man. Your heart's desire is here. You dwell carelessly. Okay? This is the place of unwalled village. You see, so to speak, man. Okay? All right? You got the borders are not patrolled by any type of real military. Okay, at the end of the day, okay, and you're not looking for somebody an enemy attack. They're more concerned with people just walking across the border trying to get into this place, man, more than anything. You see, okay, but this place, okay, all right, they did not lay these things to heart. The end of it, okay, that dwelleth carelessly, right? It says that I am and none else. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. Okay, and that's that pride of people, taking pride in the military, man. Okay, and how we won these magnificent wars, man. And kept everybody in pocket, man. Okay, all right. Don't get me wrong. We got maybe the most powerful military in the world, man. But you got these other nations that are pretty much catching up, man. Okay, they're catching up. Okay, but it says, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, loss of children and widowhood, and they shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thy enchantments, man. This is what we'll see, man. This whole thing is going on behind closed doors, and who they getting their marching orders from. Okay, Satan. Okay, with these enchantments and soothsayers and witches and warlocks, and pretty much giving them the next move to make. Okay, it's going to lead them to their own demise, man. Okay, It says, for thou trusted in thy wickedness, and thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thy heart, I am and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Okay? You see? All right? So this is what's coming here, man. Okay? The pride of thy heart has deceived thee immensely. Okay? You see? And you can't even see how the decline is real. All right? Okay? And the world is watching. You see? The world is actually watching the epic decline of this place, man. Okay? All right? And hey, you know, these things must needs to come to pass, man. You know? Okay? And we're actually seeing these curses, okay, being you know, the Lord is actually turning that Uno reverse card, man. You know? Okay, and we're actually seeing the you know, the beginning of the trading places, man, so to speak, man. Okay? Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right? So with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakak Wadash. Shalom.